The path of least resistance. It isn't every human's choice, and that's thanks to our default mode network and having a nervous system sovereign person. Welcome, future humans, our 5D collective, those who are consciously choosing nervous system optimization, growth, and ventral sovereignty over patterned reactivity. And if you're new, you might not know, I get to be the 5D mystic, spiritual, mindful, mentor, content creator, and podcast host who brings a funny bone into that which is a world where, yes, I know, emotional reactivity, performance, and external validation, they're still not only widely normalized, but quite popular as the primary ways that people out there express their emotions, although they're very not mature emotions. They also engage with one another with the same dysregulated patterns they in fact were raised with. So when you see people who are living out unconsciously repeating personality patterns, temperament, and that's in their survival mode, dysregulation, just remember, do you validate your own affective realism and charges, your likes and dislikes, your 14-month-old or not? I'm going to wait. Because see, the embodied self-leadership framework and our community on Substack, and you can check out PayHip for journal prompts, mindset practices. We do something very different than those who are validating each other's emotionally immature mannerisms. As Ron Siegel points out, when we're talking about acceptance, it's very important to talk about the difference between accepting experience as it is arising in our own body and the mouth, that you will speak words, and endorsing a certain kind of behavior. And so embodied self-leaders, we are going to be empowering ourselves and each other. Emotionally intelligent is what we choose, which means somatic stability and mental stability. So with clarity, this works really great, not only in the work environment, but in your personal relationships. And as a mystic, when you're channeling and downloading, you don't get taken over. You don't feel overwhelmed by the suffering of the 3D, 4D frequency. Yes, I know of all the different planes of existence and whatnot. So the deeply authentic collective, we're sustainable consistently with a ventral energy that provides transformation for our own selves, but also for that which is happening around us. Okay, so check out PayHip for the extended journal prompts, mindset practices that you may want to use. Check out, I'm reading from my notes, the Embodied Self-Leadership Mindset and Journal series for those of you who want support with mini videos. There's going to be 5 of them. We just looked at emotional activation without identity distortion yesterday, and it has an FAQ. So it's about emotional regulation, nervous system steadiness, resilience, personal growth, and authentic self-mastery. And the links are all in the description box below for those of you on YouTube, Spotify. You'll go check out, or other podcasts, the description. And so when someone chooses convenience over everything, and that means they condone, they allow themselves to stay within their sympathetic or dorsal vagal, their modulated embodiment is regulated, and they support their adaptive child part, self-righteous energy, because they still have core wounds and core beliefs, so they're in their sympathetic energy. We're not going to copy them, because that's the part of why we're inner authority and wielders of our nervous system, and we don't choose the past. We don't choose the past, our child, or the path of least resistance. So we don't have a 0-8 that doesn't know good manners. What motivates you to be yourself under pressure? So when you're self-regulating, as you're in the presence of those who don't, what motivates you to treat another human being with that which is called the timbre of respect while being treated, and it doesn't matter how, but their modulated defensive mode has no reason to be in the room except for one. They're allowing themselves to continue the mediocre behavior of what they were gifted and given, and therefore their inherited personality, it can be molded if they chose to mature their selves, and that's if they can self-regulate. And if they can't, I won't expect someone who got dysregulated as an infant to be self-regulating unless they go reparent themselves, disengage from using their past in the presence of me and or another, and I'll spot it. Because they won't be in their survival pattern, and they won't be acting like an arrogant, epistemically lazy, very unattractive, very uninteresting, And there's a number of fear-based, they call themselves leaders, and some call themselves leaders. They're all following each other around. And like Peter Pan and the Lost Boys with Wendy, they have really shitty behavior. Like Pinocchio on the island. That's the best I can do to try not insult human beings who are drama kings and queens, and on their little merry-go-rounds they go, validating very unnecessary chaos, rigid, hilarious excuses as they divide a world that doesn't need to be divisive, and they bring to us their facts while I know all of their effective realism and their very strong emotions, and the mouth that is moving has nothing to do with data because they're not that smart. Since they're not stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable, they can't be. They're actively in their dumbed down brain. So I'm in the presence of a person who's using generalization, stereotypes, and with a reactive mode telling me what the facts are, and I'm just thinking, sure. Yes, these are facts. Okay then. Excuse me, confusing science, spirituality. No, I'm not. And that's why you have fun with those who choose the path of least resistance, because you're not going to educate someone. Not culturally, not with epistemic curiosity of the attachment trauma education, not with any of the data, because they already made a story with themselves that you're confusing shit. They just talked over another human being with why they're right and you're wrong. You're going to know when you're in the presence with those who choose convenience, their nervous system, and they're not sovereign. Then you're going to know the ones of us who say we can do it better because like our past generations did it better than the past, and the future generations are already doing it better than the past ones. So our human species evolves with kindness and integration. In fact, a child said something wise. The grown human beings who think it's utopia to have a world that's united don't know what the world is made of. And that's usually because they have a survivorship bias. And because their entire identity was distorted as they grew up in a very scary and unnecessarily violent, however it was, environment, they just don't think it's possible for us to have peace on earth because they don't like inner stability. It sets their nervous system into haywire. So it's very fascinating, don't you think? I have an explanation for exactly how it works that we still have a planet full of dysregulated nervous systems. So when I see chaos and rigidity, I know who's going to make the difference. It's not the groupies that validate the charge and then they go ahead and continue to be divisive. It's the ones who say, okay, we all come together and as a species, we make a change happen. And it is not in the absence of compassion. The smart brains have compassion. The experts have humility. They learn from the ones who lack humility. The ones who have the consilience approach are the ones who move forward because they actively have the adolescent essence, their essential spark, social engagement, novelty, creative expression. In addition, their default mode network is down-regulated, so their brain is a conduit. Not only are they a clear channel, but they're assimilating all the information. And so they're blissed out like hell as they're learning. And as they learn from all the assholes out there, by the way, because there's a bunch of them, they're still like, wow, 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 wow. And they grab it all in, and they come up with the most amazing of not only frameworks, but also lenses. In my lens, it's the 5D collective is full of embodied self-leaders. Be yourself under pressure. It's really, we're not going to treat people like shit just because they got treated like shit. And then we're going to remind ourselves courage and strength doesn't do anything if you don't have curiosity. So we don't personalize when we get in the presence of people who are morons. This my teenager. So yeah, it's not fun to be around them, but they exist. We're gonna have to leave it alone for now, but the world will be a better place. It already is going to. I know some people don't think it's gonna happen, but that's for another time. Every 24 hours counts, and the future is you. And the future is also I. So every day our habits count, our thoughts, our interests. The person that we are today will be the person we'll be tomorrow. And as you do learn to be the person you want to be, why are you motivated to anchor in ventral energy? Why are you motivated to treat all of those who are around you with unconditional love, with your own flaws and imperfections in them as well? Okay, so here's where if you do have that capacity to hold space as a safe haven, secure base for all of humanity, you won't label any of them evil in this way of let me dehumanize you and make you into a monster. I will be able to know that you are pathological, that you are dysregulated, that there's an unfortunate business going on, and that there's a Michael Stone forensic criminologist evil skill that I can put you in. Then I surround you with all the good therapists, and then all of the followers of those people go there too, because they're all confused since they don't know what love is. They don't know how to love themselves first. as Patrick Tian points out, childhood trauma survivors don't know what love is. They will follow the wrong crowd. Have you spotted 3D, 4D by any chance? I've spotted spiritual bypassers and the somatic bypassers, like consistently, because I do personal growth. Plus, I'm an Akashic record reader. I'm a Reiki master. So they like to have Reiki to realign their chakras, clear it all out. Yep. Yes. Also tarot. They love guidance. Yes. Then do you know the bypassers, what happens as they continue their merry-go-rounds? Pat Ogden gave me the explanation. 0-8-year-old non-metabolized trauma time plays on a wheelhouse because they're continuing to try to learn. No, they're replicating their unconscious patterns. So it's clear to those who are still here at our 10-minute mark, being yourself under pressure. Why do you do it? Where's our questions? Hold on. I have a question for you. If you like journal prompts and mindset practices, check out PayHip. There's bundles for you, and join us at Substack. But before you go, here's a question that you will be curious to ask yourself. How has my ability to create steadiness from uncertainty, or how has my ability to create steadiness from assholishness, people around me and or situations? How about that? What do you think? How has my ability to create steadiness in the presence of pathologies? It's all differentiating yourself. It's really simple. Dr. Daniel Siegel explained. I do it all the time because a mystic is a somatic empath. So you pick up yourself, your oversoul, twin flame, soulmates, you tap into the sphere. You know all this shit. They're amazing when you get downloads on what's going on. I had one download when I got it. I was like, wow, that is pretty hilarious. I mean, I don't have any interest in this arena, but got it. Okay. So you laugh and have fun. Choice points are the best. Yeah, I saw choice points many different ways. It's like sliding doors. But anyways, how has my ability to create steadiness from uncertainty helped me to stay true to myself? And so those are the people who have a identity, a self, and a belonging. It's steady, doesn't get distorted. Yesterday's episode, if you want to check it out, emotional activation without identity distortion. So we're self-aware and we regulate to our nervous system and to that ventral energy. And if we're in our sympathetic, we don't validate that. That's why the difference. So the world that says 3D, 4D, we're courageous and strong, and they're in their sympathetic energy, they're not seeing clearly, and they tend to get tired over time because they're not growing from uncertainty, unknowns, unexpecteds, unwanteds. They're not motivated to treat others and the world with an open heart. I learned from Holy Spirit when I said yes to confirmation and God and Jesus. And then I continue learning. So personal and spiritual growth, it's consistent. The Enlightenment Soul Age Group, you grow more blissful. This restorative embodiment with the good resilience. The ones who don't think it's blissful ventral energy, but it's boring. I don't know what that's like, but I've heard the description and I'm like, wow, really? You think inner steadiness and having the capacity to breathe and be all giggly and be like a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old and just have fun and oh wait, I forgot. Yeah, the left, when it's actually able to be in its full essence, it's a curious child. Excited. I forget how the book described it, but it's like, wow. So we look stupid to people who don't understand what stupidity really is. Do you know what stupidity really is? We're not stupid. Don't worry. I want to do that. We're doing the diet. I'm not an indulging parent. I'm Maria. So I got curious. I got intrigued. Plus all that attachment trauma education. I was like, this is hilarious. The left is wanting control over the 24 hours where our dietitian is going to give us what to eat. The nutritionist. Yes, it's working great, by the way. So it's fun. Discipline is fun for inner authority, inner sovereign people. It's like, yeah, I'm doing my health. What do you want? Someone was like, well, now that you know, you could stop. You could take breaks. I was like, okay, maybe you didn't understand. I am doing better. Like no IBS. I'm not having the panic attacks. Like it's working to a champ, to a T. So whenever I do a little bit of this or that, I remind myself how awesome it's going. So you stay true to yourself to help others and to expand humanity. Should I rephrase? How has my ability to create steadiness from uncertainty helped me to stay true to myself, to help others, and to expand humanity? So whatever motivates you to stay on track, here's where intelligent ones know about self-regulating. They don't deny what's underneath the car, right, the hood. So you don't stay in your convenient survivor nervous system. You will choose to consistently build that which is, oh, I have a charge, I uncharge. Oh, I have a charge, I uncharge. So you do your nervous system stuff, and then in a room, you don't dysregulate because others don't know how to self-regulate. And when people come in with their arrogance and their epistemic laziness and their defense mechanisms, and they're just all about like how much suffering and just remember that when we're talking about acceptance, it's very important to talk about the difference between accepting experience as it is arising in our own body and endorsing a certain kind of behavior, Ron Siegel. And then that their false self is actually trying to not emulate the abusive parent, but also that when they don't heal the self-righteous baton and the contemptuous, grandiose manners that were taught to them because they were treated like little pieces of shit. Yes, thanks, Patrick. As he points out, they dehumanize people and then they don't take the ownership of the baton and they actually, pass it down. So that's why I read to you Ron. And so when someone's not taking their manners, their bad habits of how they handle themselves in any kind of interaction seriously, they're not motivated. They're 14-month-old. Their amygdala, I have one too. Mine is motivated to be my best self and to treat you the way I would want to be treated. It's also motivated in a way of I have feelings too, and so do you. I'm attachment trauma educated. I will never deny that you have subjective experience, which is why I'll apologize even if I'm not wrong. And that's because I have feelings, and apologies don't mean I'm condoning behavior. It means that I'm recognizing, and then we can continue talking. But also because when you have emotionally immature people, they all count on their fingers, tit for tat. And it's really annoying to get into any of that because it's like Cain and Abel. I'm like, I told God, you could have given it to both of them. But Cain was the one who's insecure, self-loathing, gut-wrenching, torn apart, needs a therapist. Abel was doing fine. In fact, Abel fulfilled, but being fulfilled, it's called restored embodiment. Everyone who chooses to be their nervous system leader, the sovereign, the ventral vagal state, FYI. And so they will love all humanity. You'll know who they are because they'll be like, yeah, we can forgive. Oh, yeah, we got plenty of charges. Oh, yeah, I work on my stuff all the time. You better bet. Oh, do you know who is the ones that affect you the most? It's your immediate herd, of course, because you're always building together. So that's the mindset practices and the journaling. It's for that. And then as you come together, welcome aboard. Join us on Substack with Embodied Self-Leaders. You can talk about how we choose to grow ourselves and not to replicate that which is maladaptive patterns of behavior, inner critic, outer critic, drinking, drugging, fucking, talking about things in ways that are unnecessary, closing oneself off of the body. Like, seriously, it's very fascinating. The ones who are continuing with their 3D, 4D frequency, and no, I'm just trying to be nice to them. But one thorn of experience is worth a whole wilderness of warning, James Russell Lowell. And this, to me, is obvious. It's people who will, once it touches you, so if you're emotionally affected, then you might learn something. But the part that I would want to tell James Russell Lowell is that some of us can be emotionally affected with our affective realism because we're self-aware and we're regulating and we're responsible and we're objective human beings who understand we're all leading with our same amygdala. I will be alerted to that which is a threat to me, but also that which I like and don't like. And so I will not be confused of that which is my own implicit, explicit memory, my own imagination, stories, anything that's coming up. And really, I won't be confused by Maria. I will know that I participate. So my personality patterns and my temperament are present, which is why I would never be the one who says I'm 100% for sure right in my own brain. That doesn't mean I'll be insecure. It will mean I will be humble and at the same time confident. And that is where the people who think that real confidence is by being certain of the right way to do life, from the woo-woo pseudoscience spiritual lady, I'm just gonna let you know, every person's story will come true, because guess who's leading yours? You are. So if you don't use a story, that's a good idea. And when you spot your story and you sit with it and you say, tomato, tomato, the default is that your brain protects you. And so your left does what it's supposed to be doing, so does your right. And it's the person who takes self-responsibility. But let's remember that those who don't know how to love themselves first need to be shown the way. And that once they will have seen the way, as they will have given the ways, They will have been given choice points, the ways to their real self, if you want to bring to me personal growth, the ways to God and or Akash source if you want to bring in spiritual. So the minute that I'm presenting you with a behavior where I will treat you the way that you are meant to be treated, and you will disrespect me, and then you'll continue hardening your heart like that Egyptian king, and therefore you'll be continuing to cut off yourself from the body. I know what's happening from an attachment trauma educational perspective, and emotionally immature people will follow each other around, and so may it be, which is why they're confused with what true love is, because they don't believe partnerships are partnerships. They actually test neutrality to the bejesus of it. Then they continue to play these games that are obnoxiously obnoxious and boring, and that's why we don't play with that or with them. So when someone will say that people learn how to protect themselves, there's a bunch of teenagers, is what I call them, out there playing pretend. In the meantime, what I'm trying to say is the path of least resistance. Yes, those sentences, people aren't dumb. Human beings can be smart. If instead they choose to use the data that they learn and not notice themselves, that's on them. But at the same time, they're following leaders who are also twisting their words. So I'm trying to say manipulation, lies. Yes, people will lie to themselves when they want to see out there and say that humans are bad. I will say, yes, evil things, bad things happen, but humans are good. It's unfortunate that we still have so many fear-based leaders out there because we have so many dysregulated followers of those leaders who can't notice the difference between a good leader, which will bring the lovely humanity together and take care of air, water, food. I bring the human elements to spiritual and spirituality. Sadhguru, he's amazing. He's shared bountiful of wise words, and some of which involve, I forget right now, but when he talks about the water and the air and the food in a different way, obviously. And I'm so happy he's out there. He, at the very bare minimum, teaches people how to take care of the earth, and he's always doing something that is supporting water, the soil, and the grass, maybe. I forget, but you should check him out if you don't know him. And some people don't like him, but I like Sadhguru. I like anyone who's talking about how we can love and come together and use our body the smart way and our mind. And so he has very much wisdom. And that would be the wisdom of the inner engineering. Body and mind are miraculous instruments, but to make them soar, you must learn to hold them the right way. So he doesn't have the attachment trauma education, but he definitely knows what it takes to soar. I call it human secondary consciousness. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And you're epistemically curious, disciplined, diligent, and you do know how consistency works. You don't make up your own story. So there's not a bad guy and a good guy, bad girl, good girl. There's a emotionally mature, self-aware, accountable, regulating collective, and now we also know there's the other. The other is still bountiful, and if we want to remember our own physical timeline, it was only by the 1970s that we started to find out about nervous system stuff. So our spiritual ancestors are the reason why we continued in the past to be able to use ventral vagal toning exercises, to be able to bring mindfulness into the forefront. So use your prefrontal. So they helped us to make use of our human makeup, and now we have science that confirms some of that which worked. They also confirm some of that didn't work, but at the end of the day, science has data, and the data proves there's no demon inside of anyone, which then brings me back to God and Source and Akash, and I'm like, yeah, we're all made of love, but you might not want it, because inner stillness that's how people will be with the gooey ones of us, and we're the utopistic stupid idiots. I'm not a stupid idiot, and actually I know our species will make it, because besides the mystic part, that's how faith in humanity works. And that's because we all can do it together. And so that's something that will make me happy one day. I don't know how much of it I'll see, but I do know we're going to get there, because also I come back into the future. So who benefits from the mindset practices and journal prompts that I get to produce and give you on PayHip for purchase? The ones who know that the keys to resilience, nervous system sovereignty, it's a steady self, and you therefore choose your ventral energy, because why wouldn't you? And so you're motivated to be your best version, because why would you treat anyone like shit, and why would you go out there into the world and bring that negativity? There's enough survivorship bias people Plus, those who are navigating neutrality are wise because we know the negative, the positive, and then we're objectively aware of the truth. And the truth is, as Thomas Campbell points out, that love wins. And other truth is that people who are pathological are so not because of a demon or monster, it's because of their own home, and they were monsters in their own head. This is even more sad. So I can't actually be angry at people who were treated like little pieces of shit. And I can be definitely aware that there's a lot of people that want to shame, blame, fault, revenge, and not really understand that we have an answer to how everyone will have been born. It's an explanation, and how the embodied brain develops. There's no story behind it. If you don't like the explanation, then your left isn't logical. And it's probably because it's not working with the right. And it means I don't like what I hear because I want to give those people and that people bad names, and I want to be angry about it. And there's the world that likes to validate their small little charges. So this is why petty, pity, these are fools that are not on a fool's journey to expand. They're on a fool's journey to stay the same fool they were when they were a child, and then now they're just a grown-up. So as they get older, they look more like Gargamel, FYI. And we will be back with more. So thanks for stopping by. Let anybody know who likes to grow to come on over, since personal growth is a choice. It's a choice of the ventral energy. It's a choice of being able to know we're going to continue to expand as we move forward, and that our future is saved as long as dark matter and dark energy don't implode, because there's intelligent ones who are mental masters, and they're brilliant with their emotional, complete, deeply involved hearts. Those are the brilliant ones. You will know who they are because they expand you. And it starts from this. Then you'll know the ones who are still, we want them around. Look at my face. They're still here. I know, God, I got it. We need all of them. They all have a place on the earth. Yeah, okay, fine. Pseudo-intellectuals, I spot them. And Buddha makes fun of me. Have 5 Buddha because I waste way too much time on them. So thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.